Welcome to Between the Lines. What are we up to now? It is Thursday. What, 420? No, it's not 420 yet. What day is today? I'm old and tired. What?
120.
It's our 120th show. Unbelievable, isn't it? Our guest, Chad McNabb, our political expert on state, local, and a little bit on federal issues, is here today. We're going to talk about so much has happened in the last week, and it's just been crazy. It is April 3rd. I was just kidding around. It's Thursday night, April 3rd. So we got a lot going on. We're going to talk about a lot of things, keep up with stuff. Primaries will be open. Kind of a shocker at the end. The House voted a 2-1 margin to close them. And we'll get into why that happened a little bit, and we'll talk about some of that. We'll talk about the local GOP convention, and we'll talk about some new laws, and vouchers are here, and we'll see how that plays out. I think some of that will go on. But Chad is a student of this stuff and has for a long time. Look at that big glare in our – look at that great glare rolling up there. I don't know what that – maybe that's just me. My eyes. Come on, my eyes. Come on, my eyes. Let's go with that. Let's go with that. All right. So welcome to the show. We're ready to go tonight. We've both been at this a lot of years, and me a couple extra decades, but we're pretty excited. Welcome, Chad.
Hey, thanks for having me. Glad to be back.
We're back. Every 6 months he's on here. I got Chuck Fleischman, Congressman Fleischman, coming on here in a couple weeks, and we're going to talk some more about federal and get into that. But let's just start with this year in Nashville, Tennessee politics, which I believe will round up 2 weeks from today.
I'm hearing right before Easter they're hoping to wrap it up.
That's what I'm thinking. Days the 3rd, 17th,
Yeah.
They'll wrap it up. And they got the budget, but everybody thought they were going to close the Republican primaries. Obviously, everybody supported it. We have so much noise from the House. They were just overwhelmingly. Even our own Rick Scarborough signed on to close the primary, writing on the wall, whatever. Yeah. But and Rick, we got to give Rick credit for trying to keep the integrity of the Republican primary. I don't.
Rick is doing a great job.
I think so. I do. I mean, you know,
been very, very impressed. Really, really accessible. Listening to his constituents. Yeah. He voted against the vouchers, which I think was. We can get into that later.
We'll take on that. I'll take the voucher side of that argument. But I mean, I didn't like the bill. I didn't like the voucher bill. They gave away everything. You can't buy those things. I mean, you can't. You know, what they basically did was they just, the most conservative people in this state, I represent some of them in my campaigns, they were all against it. It was the middle moderates that passed the bill. They bought it all out with here, we'll build this school, we'll give the teachers 20% more. I mean, it really was a fiscally unsound bill.
Well, and I don't really, I follow this stuff pretty closely like yourself. Mm-hmm. I've never really ever heard anything articulated about how it would actually do anything of substance in the sense that each kid's getting $7,200 that applies to this thing. Okay. The average cost of private school in Tennessee is $12,000. So families are going to have to make up $5,000. That might as well be $50,000 for a lot of these poor income families.
Average is that if you're measuring the Webbs of the world and the CAKs.
Well, those are even so Catholic high school. I saw that $17,000.
Is it up to high?
Yeah. So all that you're really going to do.
St. Mary's in Oak Ridge is 9 or 10, and maybe 11 now, 10. I mean, I think the point is that a lot of these private schools can get scholarships and vouchers, but not to the level of that. If I've got a check for $7,200, they're going to find a way to get me in if it's $10,000 or $11,000. That's what I'm trying to say. But the smaller, fundamental, less orthodox type stuff, these poor little private schools, they're less than that. They're much less than that.
And we've seen this attempted in a lot of other states. Arizona, for example, it's been a huge failure in Arizona. It's put them in a real fiscal crisis with the price tag on this. I saw an interview with Speaker Sexton. He said he doesn't think that'll happen here. There were much more. Tennessee is not Arizona. Okay, we'll stipulate that. Maybe we are better prepared to deal with this. But again, I don't know. With that amount of money that they're giving kids, I think all that's going to happen is you're going to create different. And it already exists to an extent, but different classes of private schools where this will be known as kind of a rough private school. This will be a good private school. And what you're going to have happen is exactly what's happened in the public schools.
Folks, let me tell you something. There is a lot of money in private education.
Sure.
You look at the lobbying they do, the work they do. If you're, if you're against it, if you're Rick was against vouchers, they're going to come again with another 100,000 added with another candidate. et cetera, because they need those votes and they need those people because they can. Let's just say that the organizations that run private schools or are private schools, there's just hundreds of millions of dollars involved.
Oh, and you're going to see a bunch of new schools pop up out of the woodwork.
It's got to be 3 years. The bill kind of protects it for a while.
The thing that I just, again, I've not had it really articulated how, in all practical purposes, it's going to work. I don't think the majority of people were for it. And again, doesn't this let me ask you this, doesn't this just kind of inherently say, we're giving up on the public schools? Can't fix them, can't do anything. I mean, to me, that was something that no one was really talking about. I mean,
public schools.
Yeah, you're just basically saying we can't, they're too broken. We cannot fix, and that may be the case, but no one really said that. Like, aren't you throwing the towel in with public schools by doing this?
The problem is that there's such a diversity of success and failure among schools around the country that, I mean, on the state, that you just, you don't have any problems in Oak Ridge or Clinton schools, but you may have problems in certain areas. I mean, school choice among public schools may be an answer too. I mean, more flexibility in choosing the school you go to, but then that becomes a problem. Is if 9,000 people want to go to Farragut and 300 want to go to Bearden, what do you do? Sorry, Bearden, that's just an analogy. But
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Sabre argues, his best friend and my wife. We'll talk about that another time. Yeah, I think she likes him more than me, but that's okay. Hey, that's marriage, right?
Doing a great job on county.
Isn't she the best?
Absolutely.
I love her to death. But she says that the private school funds are going to be spent on people that are already in private schools. She says if everybody that goes to St. Mary's picks up a check for $7,200 or Christian Academy and they take it to the school, what have we solved? Here's my problem with it. Mm-hmm. I think the income level that you can be accepted on is too high. I mean, if the thing should accomplish anything, it should allow poor people to participate in the private sector.
Well, there you go. And I agree where you're really going to be just picking up the bill for people that are already in private school. And that's the thing about this is if you're listening to the governor and he has these anecdotal stories about kids from rough areas that get to go to private school. I don't think this is what's going to solve that, in the sense that if you're going to do it, and I was against it, you might as well do it big and you might as well do it right. And that's the thing that I do respect about Bernie Sanders. I mean, I completely disagree with everything he wants to do, but he does want to do things big if he does it. And that's the thing about these Republicans that are pushing this stuff. It's not enough money to make a difference. $7,200 is not going to be enough for these lower income families to get a good private education. So if you want to do this thing, and I'm not for doing it, but if you want to do it, why not?
14,000.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying. It was like the COVID relief where they sent everyone. What did they send everyone? Do you remember? It was like $1,400, $1,200. Yeah. Like that was really going to make a difference for.
Well, it did in the economy for 9
Well, but I mean, that's not enough for a family to live on for 2 weeks, let alone a month. So if you're going to get into this quasi-socialism type stuff, do it big or don't do it at all would be all I would advise them. I would say don't do it at all, but you know what I mean? I mean, it's
maybe more than quasi, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, you're and again, it opens up all these things where the far right has had all these, this culture war, particularly on books, and wanting to ban books. We can get into that, or that's been litigated. But once you accept public money and you're a private school, does the public have the right to start, looking at your curriculum? I don't know. No one's ever been able to answer that. So there's a lot of unknowns. I don't know. I think this.
They'll find a tough entry at St. Mary's in the Roman Catholic Church.
I agree. You would think, but if they're taking the money, I mean, what comes with it?
The money's not going to the church. The money's going to the students, and they're taking it to the church. Which
well,
is
it's indirectly. Yeah, I mean, you're starting to get a lot of quandaries.
Is that a way to protect the schools? I don't know.
I remember when I was.
They didn't allow, but I will give them this. They did not allow homeschooling in the bill. I thought that was good.
Well, I mean, we'll see how it plays out. I mean, hopefully, hey, it's over. It passed.
Sabre again. We go back to our Sabre again is an expert, but she tells me there's limited amounts of them. I mean, and I haven't seen the final numbers, but I almost got them. They passed it because they had to pass it. It was Lee's legacy, and they had to get something done, and all. That's what I heard. Although I think nuclear will be a very positive legacy for the governor, and I think he's going to get a lot of credit on his investment in future nuclear. Which brings us, just shifting gears a little early, future nuclear, SMRs, Tennessee's history. just went on notice today. Today, President Trump fired the chairman of the TVA board. Now they're down to 4, and they cannot do business. Actually, it was yesterday, but cannot do business until they work everything out. And I don't really blame President Trump. I think they tried to circumvent it with Democratic people. They wanted their own hire, which is within their rights to do that. But you know how it works. You kind of want to get along with the president and your senators.
Well, I think that this is sort of like the whole Doge thing that we've experienced the last 60, 70 days where, you know, getting rid of people, you know, in the sense of that's what I think Doge is really all about, where people say it's the Department of Government Efficiency. They want to make things more efficient. Right. I think they're trying to break the thing and get their people in there, because I think the narrative is this.
You can't go into. You can't go. I mean, go ahead.
No. I think the narrative is this. In 2016, Trump's first term, he was not successful because of the bureaucracy. They wouldn't listen to him. They were too entrenched.
The economy went well.
Well, the economy went well, but I mean, as far as everything he was trying to do, you had all these, the deep state, all that. Right. So I think that what they're trying to do now, I mean, if you look at some of the stuff where they were sending out the emails, you deal in energy, where they were sending out the emails to DOE, give me a list of 5 things that you did last week. Now, is that really reasonable to go through all that and see?
Yes, it was, and it was
no, as if you were really just trying to make it better and not blow it up.
No, we want to know if they're going to work or they're fictitious people. I mean, how many people don't return an email like that? If you return an email saying, I really want to think about this, I don't want to answer it today. But how many people did not even answer because they don't exist? I think there's some credibility in all this stuff.
I'm not saying it's not credible.
You're talking about indiscriminate firing. And I'm saying...
No, I'm saying this.
These are rank and file people. Why would they care if they're Republican or Democrat?
No, I'm taking it on the face of it. If they're really taking what they're saying on the face of it, they're really wanting to go through this stuff and look at the answers and really start eliminating people like that, that's not feasible to send it to that many people and then go through it with a fine-tooth comb. I think it was what you're saying, where they were waiting for people to not respond. But my whole thing is, I think that they're trying to weed out, and I don't have a problem with it, try to weed out the people that are not going to further this administration's goals, because he did have a mandate.
Well, I think so, but I think it goes
them.
much deeper than that. That's 10% of the people they're touching, or 5%. I mean, I get that. TVA was under question anyway. You got 5 Democratic remaining board. I mean, 4 or 5 Democratic remaining board members, all Biden people. You knew they weren't going to probably last, but they weren't bothered in the initial stages. They are self-sufficient. They run their own business with their own revenues, $21 billion in debt, but not terrible. And they've got a lot of other issues. But you know what? I mean, it's a self-governing board, but they depend on federal grants. And you got to understand, TVA, they do our electricity. Mm-hmm. They have oil and gas divisions. But they also have a nuclear division. They're trying to build Quincy River Breeder, trying to get the SMR. Things are moving forward. Permits. Orano's in here for that. Other big companies, you've read about them. Yeah. Everything's in here. And now it's all at a standstill. But it's at a standstill because they circumvented his will, or the administration's will, and went out and just hired who they wanted, did what they want. And I like the new CEO. He's a Pittsburgh guy. He's on my list automatically. Yeah. But still. If Senator Hagerty and Senator Blackburn took the time to write an op-ed 2 weeks ago about kind of a no confidence, which we'll talk about no confidence later on another guy, but I think that they should have paid attention to that and tried to create a dialogue and do what they could. And I don't know who's on salt with that, but I know I have personal relationships with most of the senators and congressmen involved, and I will tell you it has been a scramble for the last week trying to figure out how are we going to operate this stuff, because they've got permits, grants, everything.
Well, they have a quorum now, right?
60 days.
Yeah.
I mean, folks, I'm not predicting. I'm just saying there's a possibility that Orano will pack up and go home, because they're not going to get the support they need, and they would be right to do so if they had to. But I think they've been a great community partner. Jean-Luc's involved in everything. They have a local guy here. He's the president of the company in Maryland. And I just have a great confidence in that company and the relationship. And they're so important to our whole long-term uranium security. And without going into a lot of details, they're just very important.
Well, what do you make of all these executive orders and going so fast, so quick? And, I mean, we're getting close to 100 days. I mean, we're 70, 80 days
Yeah,
in.
I'm getting ready to poll
so,
on that.
I mean, what would you give him so far? What do you think of all this?
Me? But I'm a believer. But I would say...
But you talk to a lot of people you poll. I mean, what do you think? How do you think how he's doing?
Nobody ever likes fasting before they get a doctor's appointment or something like that. I think he's right. I think you're going to have some pain, but in the long run, we're going to be back on top and manufacture everything. And I think, listen, I don't think Canada and Mexico can hold on as long as we can. They're going to be really, really suffering, especially Canada.
Yeah.
And I think, I just think that it's going to be. I just think that if we play the game long term, which we're not the toughest people, Russians are different. They can eat cardboard for a year. They're tough people.
Well, that's right.
But I'm not Canada. Come on.
I don't know that he's done the best job, or his people.
Your answer is A-.
Well, I'd give him probably a B. I don't know that he's done the best job. The one thing I'd be critical of is sitting down and explaining it to the American people, or having his team. As far as
Biden wasn't even conscious.
Well, I'd give him an F. I'm going to give him a B. I'm just saying. I think that. Yeah. Somebody should set the American people down and say, you are going to feel some short-term pain in this. You are going to do. I've been surprised.
He's been saying that.
Well,
but not
an Oval Office address, something explained to people.
Didn't you think the State of the Union was an overwhelming success and the Dems embarrassed themselves?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's
perfectly choreographed too. I agree with
Well, I mean, absolutely. And they're not offering any solutions. You had Cory Booker this week, talking.
What was he filibustering?
I don't.
He finally stopped.
Finally, okay. 25 hours or something like that. I mean, what are they really putting forth?
But you have to filibuster an item. What was the item?
I don't know. I know he was just protesting Trump, and it's like, okay, that's all well and good, but what do they stand for these days? I don't know. Besides just being anti-Trump, I mean, they're not putting forth any ideas.
It's funny. Back in the John Lewis days, when he was sitting at the very end of his career. Mm-hmm. I walked across the street from the Capitol. I was going back to the Cannon building, and he stopped me, or we stopped each other, I guess. And Chuck was with me, Congressman, and introduced me. And he turned to me and he put his finger on Chuck's chest, said, "This is a very good man," and he walked off.
Wow!
So he had a lot of respect for Chuck. So and John comes from my youth. I mean,
John Lewis. I mean,
he's
absolutely.
But the world's changing, and it's cultural opposites. I use the example of the Soviet Union all the time. They held it together for 70 years. They worked under one banner. The minute the banner came down, everybody was killing each other again.
Yeah.
You can't stop tribalism. It's just part of life.
I agree.
And what we have in America is we have, and I'm not for us being ordained the right Christian group. I don't believe in that. It's like the local thing. We're the Christian slate. Wait a minute now. You can say we're the slate of Christian values. I got no problem with that.
Well,
but when you say you're the Christian slate, does that make us atheists? I mean,
Well, I mean, we can get to the local stuff. I'd like to do that here in a little bit. But, I mean, there is a lot of tribalism in America right now. I think we are more divided than we ever have been. Of course, we have a long history of being divided. People act like it's a new.
But I'm not. I really do buy, and I understand. I may be. Yeah, I'm back to Sabre again. She sends me stuff all the time, articles and stuff that she researched. That she's just on top of everything. You know how prepared she is. She with you. But she's, and I just I'm not a globalist.
No.
And as a Catholic Christian, I'm appreciative of world stuff. When I was in third grade at St. Mary's, they showed us maps of all the different places. It wasn't like, Texas is heaven. It was more like, I understood global good stuff. I didn't think everything was the United States. But still, our values and what we believe in south of the Mason-Dixon line and west of the Mississippi, except for a few isolated states, are what you got from California across the northern hemisphere all the way up into New York and all those areas. You've got a lot of people who just we don't have much in common with.
Well, that's a good point. And what we're seeing a lot of is obviously the migration from places like California, places like New York to Tennessee. We're seeing a huge
both sides. So cities are getting.
The people from the cities are moving
conservative. When I went around getting ready for campaigns in 2022, I went to every election commission, introduced myself. It's just important because I could do a lot of phone work with them. And I went to every one of them, and they all told me, Alan, the biggest thing that's going on is 2,000 more people signed up to vote in the last 2 years, and the majority of them are conservative Republican types. I go to Hamilton County, or I go to Davidson County or Knox County, I get the opposite reaction. Well, Knox is pretty conservative, but those other areas, there's a lot of progressives moving in those areas.
Well, I was reading something a couple of weeks ago. Average price of a home in California, $950,000. Median price.
I understand.
Median income, $95,000.
In California?
Yeah. Median households. Now we're talking outside the cities. You just the whole state, $95,000
for the household.
For the household. That's not sustainable. That's not sustainable.
That's right.
They had 320,000 people more move out than moved in.
If you bought the house at $350,000, it's sustainable.
Well, but I mean, again, I'm going with, but they lost almost 320,000 people more than came in or going out. Same thing's happened in New York. It was similar. It was like $850,000 for a home. 87,000.
It's like we talk about T.
How's that
Higgins signing a
sustainable?
contract for 4 years more in Cincinnati instead of a Tennessee or Dallas, et cetera, et cetera. That cost him 12% of that money outside, just in local and state taxes.
That's right. But you have these people coming in. I wonder, though, they tend to like it here. They like the no income tax. Are they going to start voting Democrat, though?
It's weather, though. It's weather.
And that's what gets interesting is, do you see a scenario where Nashville is exploding, Chattanooga, all these places, the cities, Murfreesboro, Franklin, all these places just start exploding with population, and Tennessee goes blue in 10 years?
No.
You don't see that happen. I don't know.
No.
I mean,
I think young people as a whole aren't migrating in here. 40s and 50s are migrating in here. And I think, you know how it is. It's the old, when you start paying bills, electric bills. I think the Republican Party will be value-centered, but it will move back to economic models in 8 years. I just don't see it. The real question is, do we get a third party? And the answer is, you don't need but 10% to be effective as a third party.
Well, we'll see what happens with Trump. I think that Trump's going to be a lame duck in about a year because we'll be dead set on the midterms. Everybody will be campaigning toward that. It's going to be really hard to get.
Exist, he'll never be a lame duck.
That's a whole other thing.
It was Biden and Harris. They kept.
But I mean, I think he's got a window of time, probably about 12 months, to really get things done. I'd like to see.
And you want to know why they're rushing through these emails? And
well,
they can't get it. You want them to sit down and review it and say, "Okay, Fred's good and Bill's bad." They can't do that.
Well, again, yes, they are rushing through that. But why is he not working with Congress? I mean, you got executive orders.
Johnson and him meet weekly. He meets with both of the leaders, Thune. They all get along great.
I like Speaker Johnson a lot. I like Thune, but I don't. I've not seen any type of plan. I've not seen any type of we're going to get this done. I'm just calling it like I see it.
Well,
again, I mean, the Democrats are not even serious.
Never the House. The House will be fine. Well, we won both races in Florida Tuesday night.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign. And did they ever get a final in the Wisconsin race?
I know the one that Musk was pushing lost. The judge or whatever, the state Supreme Court. I saw.
So the woman won.
Yeah,
the Democrat woman won. Okay, judges don't bother.
Well, I mean, I think that again, Trump's got a window of time. I'd like to see him step up and see Congress step up and actually work to get some things done outside these executive orders because people are ignoring.
When these budgets come out this year, you're going to see something. Well, I'd say you're going to see. Well, it's eliminated two basically: USAID and Department of Education. They're just gutted.
Yeah,
okay.
Good.
And so, I agree. I think let the states run it. But I think the flip of it is that you'll see everybody's going to get hit several $1 billion, even defense. Mm-hmm. Money will be shifted, et cetera, et cetera. Now, in our world, in the mission world and energy world where I work, I think weapons are going to be okay, which is the center of what Y-12. I think we need to modernize our weapons. We need to, I was with the speaker at a dinner in Knoxville about a month ago, and he called it the Second Manhattan Project. We need to modernize and get going.
Yeah.
But when you think of the Manhattan Project, it's kind of a tricky analogy because when you think of the Manhattan Project, you're thinking about setting goals to do something unrealistic in 4 years. He's saying it's the time and the incentives and the deadlines that matter. We got to go now. And I talked to him one-on-one, and he told me, he said, Alan, I got to get a pipeline to New England.
Yeah.
It's costing them a fortune to stay warm and cold. So I think that stuff needs to go now.
Yeah. I don't see a lot of impact to Oak Ridge. I mean, you're an expert on that. I mean, some people may lose their jobs, but I mean, I don't see, in terms of scale of what the production scale,
I'm not real optimistic about the windmill industry. I'm sitting at dinner with leading people, and they're talking about fusion and fission. For those that don't know the difference, fusion is harder to get an export. It's safer, it's cleaner, but it's harder to get a positive energy. Versus, you put in 1 gram, you get out 1.2. It used to be couldn't get anything positive. They want to build that up so they can get more. That's an 8 to 10 year project.
Well,
Trump ain't building 8 to 10 year projects.
Well, that's what I would really like to see him focus on is getting rid of some of the regulations and red tape to get some stuff.
It's the focus.
It's got to be because that's the thing.
I talk to CEOs, energy leaders all the time, and you know what they tell me? and this is a great analogy by a leader here in Oak Ridge, one of the plant managers said, it's hard to play ball when you got 7 referees on the court.
Wow.
We need 2 referees to regulate what we do and do an efficient job. But there's too many referees. And to be fair, Biden has flooded these places with younger regulator, whatever. They need to go.
Well,
and
I think if you look at
a problem with that.
Well, I think if you look at the history of it, like if you start looking at the 1940s, 50s, 60s, pollution was everywhere. You look at all these issues we had. Sure. It was. And Nixon signs the Clean Water Act in 1972. We needed it at the time.
Sure.
Didn't have a problem. What you're seeing is the one generation's solutions, like in the 70s, has become another generation's problems once we've self-corrected. We've gotten really, really good at telling people no, and bureaucracy and red tape, to where you can't even build anything anymore. I think that our country's built 3 nuclear reactors the last 20 or 30 years. China's throwing them up. I mean, well, look at the Empire State Building, built in less than a year. How long would it take? How long would it take today to build? I mean, 20 years? Well, it depends on where it's being built. California never.
Think about all of the Oak Ridge mission in 3 years. I mean, it's just incredible.
So there's this great story in the early 2010s. California wants to build high-speed rail. They go out, full court press. Jerry Brown's the governor then. They allocate billions of dollars to this thing. And they say, by 2020, you should be able to ride from Los Angeles up to San Francisco. Still not. This 2010, still not been built. They spent billions and billions of dollars on it. I saw Germany can build the same amount of high-speed rail for $330 million. We're like $2 or $3 billion in, nothing's been built. That's a problem. That's a systemic problem that really does need to be.
I don't think it's just California's problem.
Well, I mean, again, I'm picking on California today, but it's the most obvious example.
Sure.
It's the most extreme example of the stuff.
You've got an environmental hurdle at every time they turn around.
Absolutely. You talk about people that do construction now. Some of these union construction jobs, there's like a mandatory 15-minute calisthenics session before they can go out there. There's all these things. I mean,
well, you're building the train, you're going to do it, but wait a minute now. That goes through an old dog park, and one of the dogs died there, and we have memorials set up, and we don't want to go through that.
And again,
it's ridiculous.
Look, everybody wants clean water, clean air. I know I do. I mean, everybody. Sure. Some of these things are it's fine. It's just it's gone too far. Where we needed it in the 70s, and now we're here in 2025.
The pipeline's the greatest example. We would be paying $1.40 for gas.
Well, you know a lot about energy.
I mean, look at the war. If we had not put all the regulations on producing oil and gas, we would have been selling oil. His price would have been $40 lower. He would have never been able to go to war.
Well, you look at nuclear energy. It's my understanding. I'm not an expert, but I mean, it's one of the cleanest, safest forms of energy.
No question.
People don't understand that. They think of Fukushima, Chernobyl, all these places. That if you look at the day-to-day nuclear energy reactor, it's one of the cleanest, safest forms of energy.
France is considered one of the most liberal countries.
Yes, and
88% of their stuff is nuclear.
Yes. Now, I don't know a lot about it, but I've read a lot of experts, and again, I'm saying, why are we not exploring that?
How many people have died in a nuclear accident? I mean, the bottom line is not very many. I mean, Russia was a little out of
it's like a motorcycle. If you have one, it's pretty bad. Probably you don't have, but there's not many.
Yeah, that's a good
many of it, but I mean,
that's part of it.
Yeah,
it's like COVID. In my wife. And Mark Saber, she's still suffering from after effects. From working with her. She's tougher than nails. She gets through it every day, but she's still got headaches. But that was a calculated risk. They knew 5% would be hurt, and they went ahead and treated the other 95%, and that's the business.
Thank God we're past that. So that was one of the strangest times in our history.
We had wrong people, and the president bought into it too.
It's really what derailed him. He would have been reelected had it not been that. I mean, I think
the voting was unbelievable. They let people vote from mailboxes.
It's
just crazy.
It would have never. He would have been reelected in a landslide. I think.
Yeah, so I had guys that were in Philadelphia, and they said they were bringing in ballots all night.
Yeah.
Let's take a break, Chandler. We're way past due. Thank you, folks.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Feeling overwhelmed with your business finances? At P&L Business Services, we handle all your bookkeeping, payroll, and tax needs. From federal tax returns to QuickBooks training, we've got you covered. With over 25 years of experience, we provide customized packages to fit your business. Focus on what you love most, building your business. Let us take care of the rest. Call 865-294-4792. P&L Business Services, empowering you to grow your business.
Prescription drug misuse is a prevalent and potentially fatal problem. When people do not properly monitor, store, and dispose their medications, it can create an opportunity for misuse. Count it. Make it a goal to count your pills once every 2 weeks. Lock it. Secure your medications at home. Drop it. Drop off unused or expired medications for proper disposal at any police department in Anderson County. For more info, visit asapofanderson.org. Brought to you by ASAP of Anderson. Prevention works.
Over 14,000 neighbors live in fear of becoming sick or injured and having to make a choice between putting food on the table or seeking medical care. The free medical clinic tries to take that fear away.
What do we help them with? We help them with diabetes, hypertension, any kind of medical need that they need that's necessary. And being in a community with the African American community lets them know that we're here.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
Okay, we're back. Between the Lines, April 3rd. Things are popping. Chad's already identified major socialistic problems in California. For our viewers in California, we want to apologize. We take no strict position on that.
Yeah, keeping it very local here today,
Yeah, I mean, things tend to be momentum issues, that you get started on something and you don't stop. Let's talk about Anderson County, then let's expand a little bit to Tennessee Republican politics. We're already halfway through the show.
Yeah.
So, you know, in Anderson County, when I started consulting 30 years ago, but started really seriously about it about 24, as a part-time thing, it's grown into a full-time thing pretty much. Although I have a full-time job during the day, it's just overwhelming, as Sabre can tell you. But, you know, I think Anderson County was maybe 60-70% of my business, and now it's about 12.
Wow.
So I really don't get involved. There's nothing sane about Anderson County politics, especially the GOP. I get a kick.
I agree.
I get a kick out of the Democratic chairman. I don't know his name. Sabre does. He makes
Chase Lindsay. I
kind of like the guy. I mean, he's active. He smacks people in the face.
He did a very good job last fall, picking up some school board seats, picking up a commission seat.
So. But he's active. He's not surrendering. He's not.
No, I mean, as Republican as you get, but you got to say they do have some energy now. They are, especially in the city of Oak Ridge, they're
having meetings.
Yeah.
3 months after the election, they're already meeting. The women.
They are. So, I mean, they've got some energy.
I thought somebody died at the house across the street. So that's a Democratic women.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, the average age was probably about 82 going in there. You know, but no. Look, they have some energy. They are certainly going to be competitive in the city of Oak Ridge.
Trump won the city of the Anderson County part of Oak Ridge by about 100 votes, but he won Oak Hills by 400 votes.
Well, and those 6 commission seats, I think they'll be very competitive for those, the school board. I don't see him getting a lot of play outside the city of Oak Ridge. I mean, the Oak Ridge precincts.
Do you see the incumbent GOP leadership that is now disenfranchised by a margin of 2-1, basically? Do you see that group that's been in power for 8 to 12 years? Do you see them moving towards a cooperative era, or do you see them, because they're very active, they do things, or do you see them drawing candidates down and opposing a lot of that stuff?
I see him. You're talking about the people that just voted out? Yeah. I see him being complete sore losers and doing everything they can to disrupt chaos and get Republicans beat. That's what I see, to be completely honest with you. They're gonna go off into a splinter group. No, they're gonna go into a splinter group, probably have their own little meetings. It'll be small.
I think the younger ones will lean that way. I don't.
And then they'll probably primary all of our candidates and try to.
With who?
Well, with the people. All of them usually are professional candidates that we're talking about here.
I've got a kick out of the. We won't go into a lot of detail, but I got a kick out of one of the younger ones ads about independent Kennedy supporters and all that. That was really clever.
I'd like to. You were there last Thursday. I was there last Thursday. Thank God we got the result we did. This is just me speaking. It was not close. I think it was 155 to 89.
Which is about
it was resounding.
62.
I got a real kick out of the next day. I won't say the person's name, but there was a Facebook account that was going, a Facebook account of the night, a retelling of the night, that was going around among political circles with one of the people that lost, that was supporting the team that lost. And it literally started out, if you were just reading it and didn't know his politics, it sounded like an amazing, like it was going to be a positive story, because it was like, oh my gosh, I got there. I have never seen so many cars in the parking lot. And you're like, wow, this is going to be good. And he's like, it was awful. I can't believe, it's like the first half of it really proved the point of there was actually some enthusiasm on the other side. The choice couldn't have been clearer. You had one side that was bringing people in, business leaders, people that were, by the way, everybody in that room was a bona fide Republican.
Only county in East Tennessee, because I work in all of them, where the slate that you would call the right-wing slate lost. They won in Knoxville 75%.
Exactly.
But
Williamson County, Hamilton County.
Yeah, that's a mess over there.
Yeah, no, I'm saying they've won everywhere else.
I've had lunch with Gail Green a few days. She's a very admirable lady, very respectable lady, and she gets a lot of credit. Let me tell you, those people are balanced people in Hamilton County, and Bradley just elected a 25-year-old chairman who's conservative, friend of mine, and all of these people want to change the way, they want to change government, they want to make things more transparent, they're doing a good job, and they're not your sit back and smack on the back kind of 70s politicians, and they deserve a lot of credit. I didn't get the same vibes from the Anderson County conservatives.
Well, I think that
because they called me and said, what do you do?
The choice couldn't have been clearer, where you had one side, the side that won, that was bringing people in, again, business leaders, people that had not been there a long time. And what I was going to say, everyone in the room was a bona fide Republican. They set the rules. Yep. They literally got to pick the referee, the rules of the game. They got to count the votes.
Absolutely.
They did everything, and they still lost. And my point is, one side was bringing in people, bringing in young people. The other side was turning people away. They didn't like it. Suppressing young people.
Well, the incumbents are the loudest group,
it's ridiculous.
But they're not the biggest group. I said all along, they don't have enough people to sustain them.
There was a young lady that is very, very accomplished. I won't say her name, but people know who she is. Very, very accomplished at the Howard Baker Center in Knoxville, going to college. Wanted to serve on the board. They put her on the Republican board. They kicked her off of it. Well, that's a great way to grow the party in it. I think it was absolutely disgusting what this leadership. 18, 19, her whole life ahead of her, accomplished. People look up to her in the community. No, you can't serve with us. I think
what was
it's
her
disgusting.
reason for kicking her off?
I assumed it was because you weren't able to vote in so many of the elections because you were 18 years old. You
wouldn't let her participate.
This wouldn't let her serve on a board, a committee. And they, to be fair, they had a reason that said, oh, well, it was some procedural issue where you can't take nominations from the floor. But it was purging people they didn't like. I thought it was disgusting. I think the party needs to be open to young people. This stupid rule, and I know it's a state rule that if you're 18, you can't participate because you've not had 3 out of the 4 elections where you're not able to. But you can go die in, Afghanistan, but you can't do it. Ridiculous.
They turned some away.
They turned away, but what does that do long term to those young people that want to be involved in the Republican Party? What does I tried to go out there, I put myself out there, they turned me away. It's ridiculous. There's no common sense.
No defense of that.
There's no defense. But
if they were 18, they voted Democrat, and now they're voting one Republican, then I take them out.
If they vote Democrat, that's something else. I agree
in the
with
last 4 years.
Nobody wants Democrats infiltrating our party and picking our candidates. I agree with that. My point is there was a system in place in 2012, 2014. You could write the executive committee, they would examine the record, and they would boot them. It happened to people here. I mean, I'll just say it. I think that happened to Robin Boloski. Back in 2012, 2014, there was an issue. Again, I'm going by memory. There was a mechanism in place, whether you liked it or not. That did happen. I don't know why we need to rewrite the rules and purge a bunch of young people.
Being in the business, I'm just discouraged. We have to go back to 2 out of 4, 3 out of 4, and all that. Registration would have cured all that.
Well, it's totally predictable in the sense that they get every single seat in the county. There's no one left. You don't have an enemy anymore. The Democrats are getting more energized, but they're not really much of a competition.
I'm going to give John Reagan.
We turn on ourselves.
I'm going to give John Reagan a lot of credit. I mean, I helped John, and I can tell you flat out, and you know me, I'm one of the better pollsters. And the night before, I talked to the speaker, I would have put John up 12 points. And if you take the final results and you take out the 900, 1,100 people who have a Democratic leaning history and don't qualify or not nowhere near a he wins by 11 or 12 points.
But these people, them not accepting Rick Scarborough is absolutely disgusting.
After the fact, I think they had a right, everybody had a right to wait on Nashville in the SEC. The minute he was approved by the SEC, there should be no more talk about it.
So Rick Scarborough supported Randy Boyd in his run for governor. What was that,
2018?
Yeah.
Because I was for Diane
Okay.
Black.
I was for Diane Black, too, but I'm saying he supported Randy Boyd.
Yeah.
He was a bona fide Republican by all accounts. I think Rick had screenshots of him putting Republican stuff out like in 2016. He was a bona fide Republican.
I don't think anybody questioned his bona fide
Well, why won't they accept him then? I mean, that's the thing, is they tried to go overturn the election.
A lot of people in the last 3 years have been bona fide, but I think the bottom line is they still know the Larson Jays of Knoxville, Republican, and Rick, they have a progressive type of history, and I don't have a problem with that. But Rick's voting record this year in the legislature has been very conservative.
Well, I don't think there would be much difference between how the way he votes, the John Reagan votes. They'd probably vote the same, 97, and I mean that in a positive way. I mean,
absolutely.
I don't know. These people need to accept Rick Scarborough as a representative. They really do.
But
He's doing a great job.
We got the same problem in Chattanooga with Michelle Renault beating Patsy Hazelwood and others. When do they stop? When do they stop crying? I mean,
never.
I mean, that's the problem. Once you lose on the battlefield, you're done. Go to the next one.
Well, they got beat 2-1.
John was okay. I mean, he went and appealed it, and after that, he was gone.
Well, I know everyone knew what was going to happen. They were going to try to caucus. That got shut down. Thank God. The anti-democratic
if they had not come
caucuses.
If they had not come out, and the Republicans, I don't remember if it was who the chairman said we may caucus in 26.
Sure,
that's the day it turned the election. Last Thursday would have been close if it hadn't been for that.
You know what, though? I don't want to be negative. I have a ton of positive outlook. I think Zach Farrow is going to do a phenomenal job as chairman. You see the amount of people there. The room was electric. I mean, it felt like just a rebirth of the party in a positive way. You saw young people, accomplished people there.
Get to your negative point.
No, this is my positive. I'm an optimist about the future, where I do think that the party is heading in the right direction. I do think there's going to be more opportunities for people to get involved, young people to get involved. It's not going to be a very small group.
I tell you what I like.
Giving lectures on Disney movies.
You see when the Republican Party put up something about titles? Put something up about titles?
Yes, thank God.
That's what we need to do. If they're going to play a posting game on us, we need to get out with everybody in the party who ran as a Republican and is elected as a Republican. Anytime they get an award, we need to post it.
Sheriff Barker, 2 weeks ago, met with Kash Patel, Marsha Blackburn, and Bill Hagerty.
I know the meeting.
Nobody posted it. Now, Sheriff Barker is the only one out of that whole bunch that has actually met with Donald Trump. Yeah. They won't accept him because he wouldn't lock up librarians. That's the bottom line.
Or commissioners.
Well, yeah. I mean, and what did Sheriff Barker do? People don't know this. He actually went in and objected to the books as a private citizen, and his act got the books moved to restricted area. They don't tell that part. Yeah. He literally investigated it. He went before commission and gave out his reasons why he couldn't do it, and he did something about it as a private citizen.
Doesn't matter. They can't see the forest for the trees
because they're too ignorant.
They call me up and say, "Alan, what's your problem? What's the deal up there?" And these my clients, and they get all that done too. I said, "You're for removing books from libraries?" They go, "Yes, we are." I said, "How many of your Republican meetings in the last 12 months have been dominated by that subject?" They go, "Maybe a half of one." I said, "That's the point. Make your point, get it out there, and then let it go." I don't need video films from every county around me about how Margaret Sue was in the library and her son saw a stick drawing. I don't care.
Well,
my conservative consultant, millions of dollars in the North, very successful. He told me, he said, if I had to hide pornography, I'd put it in a library because nobody goes to the library.
Well, again, you're dealing with this is just like the crossover issue. Let me be clear. No one wants children exposed to this material. Nobody. Again, we have the same goal.
But it's the same as your water in California. Today it's this, tomorrow it's that. You got to watch it.
Well, again, I mean, I think that there was a solution there, and I think it got there where put the stuff in a restricted material. If you want to have a discussion about should taxpayer funds be spent on material like that, probably shouldn't.
Take the victory. Yeah, take the victory. They should have taken the victory and moved on.
But Russell Barker, I think, is the greatest sheriff in the history of Anderson County. I think he's doing a phenomenal job. And for the way that they have treated that man, and he's not going to like me saying all that, but the way that they've treated him, it's absolutely ridiculous. The way they've treated Tyler Mays, like you said, it was refreshing to see a post about one of his accomplishments. He's been an excellent chairman. I mean, I think that my point is we have strong conservative leaders here in Anderson County. Really, really smart individuals. Young leaders.
Barker's old,
but everybody else help him out. He's 55.
Oh, it's 60 to me. I'm just saying, whatever.
No, I'm saying let's empower strong Republicans because these guys are strong Republicans. They're doing a good job. Let's not tear each other down.
I don't like judgment. And I'm going to tell you, probably the most successful. You can argue Barker. I'm going to argue Mayor Frank. I think that Terry Frank is probably the most influential and powerful elected official in Anderson County. She's well respected in Oak Ridge, in the nuclear world, the state government. And she was very independent in this. Let's give credit to her. She did not get into it. I better not hear
Mayor
any
Frank
rumblings.
is
no rumblings. I'm going to tell you right now.
Mayor Frank is one of the most intelligent people I've ever had the pleasure of sitting down and talking with. You listen to her talk about things like energy. Those people out there love her. She understands. She, as the kids say, there's levels to this stuff. She's at the top level. She really understands.
Well, you mentioned a point about Barker, who I like very much, and we also want to throw out our. We said condolences before, but we still want to be supportive in prayer for our good friend in Morgan County who passed on.
Wayne Potter, absolutely.
Sheriff Potter and his kids and everybody, he's a great guy.
Oh, he was a wonderful human being, and the community there. I think that they said there was roughly 1,500 people at the funeral. I mean, it was just, that tells you.
That's Morgan County. They come.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, we have strong leaders here. I hope the Republican Party can all come together. I think we're going to have an opportunity to do that. I have high hopes. It was a great night.
But you got Governor Lee and Jack Johnson and Senator Johnson that's be suing the Williamson County Republican Party for improper procedures. I mean, I think that the establishment's really on the defense. I think the whole local people in Knoxville were stunned at how overwhelmingly that group was rejected.
See if you can answer this for me. I know it's your show, but I got to ask you. Here's what I don't understand. The fallout from this thing.
Which thing?
The GOP reorganization. Yes.
Okay.
So how is it that Donald Trump gets a pass on everything in this context? Saw a couple days ago on Facebook, they post one of our new officers at a Robert F. Kennedy rally.
Yes.
Okay, it was going around. Yes. Everybody saw it. Didn't Trump put this guy over HHS and the FDA and everything else? I like Bobby Kennedy, by the way.
Do you want me to defend? What is?
If we were having a meeting
the post was legitimate.
But if we were having that meeting Thursday night, Tulsi Gabbard couldn't get in. Robert F. Kennedy couldn't get in. Have a Trump. I mean,
I agree.
They weren't be allowed. They won't be allowed in. So how does he get a pass to put this guy over all of her food, drugs, all that? Tulsi Gabbard's the chief intelligence officer over everything. But, I mean, I don't understand how Trump can appoint people like this, but they can't even participate in our, I don't know. It makes no sense to me.
Without naming the person, I think the issue is that picture took place a year or more before, okay? It was during Kennedy's run back in, I want to say, late 23. That's a guess. And I think that he was running as an independent to defeat the Republican candidate. So there's some legitimacy in that. At the same time, I agree with you. This individual, I haven't pulled it all, but I'm sure they voted in the Republican primary. They wouldn't be bona fide.
They would have been in the room.
I don't have a problem. And I think probably a lot of people had a personal affiliate, like Bobby Kennedy,
I like Bobby Kennedy. Bobby Kennedy endorsed President Trump, appeared on stage with him, and is part of his cabinet. So I'm saying, if Bobby didn't do that, then it'd be a different deal. But he did, and I'm just saying, you can't have it.
The poster's point was, at the time, they were promoting somebody to defeat Donald Trump. That's what they were doing, and I think that they wanted that person over Donald Trump. Now, that Donald Trump brought that person in wasn't the issue. I thought the post was legitimate, not too effective. I think everybody accepts that individual, and I think.
Well, I mean,
it's crying going out the door. You should have done 2 weeks ago. If you had the picture, why didn't you do it 2 weeks ago? I mean, please.
No, it's just. Again, I think that Trump is the ultimate deal maker. He
once
brings
again,
in people from everywhere.
Another young person with another young person, and it doesn't make any sense.
No, I'm saying if you look at Trump, one of the things I admire about Trump is he brings in people from everywhere, puts them in the cabinet. He doesn't get too boggled down on their voting record or anything. He gets the best people. But
it's going to change in 4 years, that's for sure.
But we can't do that. I mean, it's just
think
it's
about
nonsensical.
Vance versus Huckabee. It's going to be a while in 4 years. People like Vance. He polls well.
Who knows? Who knows how that'll?
Oh yeah, it's shake out three different ways.
I mean,
What's Swanee going to do?
Yeah.
See if he gets to be governor, he gets 4 years or 2 years of experience in this. Let's talk about the governor's race. What do you think?
Well, right now we got two. We got Blackburn and one officially.
Blackburn runs for Senate, gets elected. 3 months later, she wants to be the governor. How do you think that plays with voters?
It's one of those things where the people that I talk to, half of them love her, half of them
She plays well.
They're not a big fan, but they'll end up voting for her.
She plays well with the right.
Yeah, I mean, she's very popular among the MAGA circles, all that. Moderates aren't crazy about her, but they're going to vote for her at the end of the day.
Maybe.
So I think it's Blackburn's to lose right now. I've seen the polling. John Rose, I don't see any. He's got a lot of money, but at the end of the day, I don't see him making a lot of inroads with voters. So I think it's Blackburn's to lose.
They tell me. I'll tell you what. Here's what I hear. In the old days. And I haven't done any polling yet. Every poll I'm putting out, the first one is approval ratings on Trump because I have to be able to cross-reference that, right? Mm-hmm. You may be for Russell Barker, you may be for Colt Jennings, you may be for somebody else. But the question is, what is
I'm definitely not for Colt Jennings.
I got that down. I understand that one. But he's saying he's going to run, right?
I guess.
Okay. So, anyway, I hear that. Or anybody else. I'm not saying that Colt's running. I'm just saying anybody. Chad McNabb.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's got a T-shirt. Apparently,
okay. Whatever. I'm giving. You know. And somebody asked me, you want to put that? I was like, no, it's another story. Yeah. But let's just say this. I'm just saying that the only thing that really matters. You talk about why is Trump matter? The only thing that really matters is if the overall vote is 65-35 Russell. Mm-hmm. Okay. And the Trump supporters will be 70-30 Trump roughly, right? Approving his first days. May not be. Maybe 60-40. Right. You're right. But it's Republicans mostly. So you bring it down. And, of course, I compare it to last year, right? But you bring it down, and then I say, okay, if you voted for Trump, if you think he's done a great job his first 100 days, how are you voting in the sheriff's race? That's the number that matters. Do the Trump supporters feel one way or the other? Are they for Russell or are they on the other side? Where's it go?
Well, this Blackburn thing will be interesting. I do think there is an open lane.
John Rose is very viable. I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to say this. John Rose... You're right. He can write a check for. He's a big IT guy. Made a long time. So he can write a check, right? I think that he has her record to run on. I don't know what his record is. She's a very outspoken person. Closing the primaries, keeping the primaries open, definitely helped John Rose, because I think that you'll have more Dems crossing over to vote against Marsha Blackburn. But it didn't help him in this time, did it? I mean,
no. I mean, I'm curious. I think there is a lane. I would add this. I think there is a lane open for a Bill Haslam type. Randy Boyd, Bill Haslam, that wing. I don't think that they're crazy about Marsha. I don't think they really are crazy about John Rose. So I'm saying a guy like this Joe Baker out of Sevierville that was flirting with it, businessman, very accomplished, military background, DA,
a third candidate,
ton of money,
third candidate.
So no, I think there is a lane though for a Corker, a
three-way race. Marsha gets it the first time it's over.
But I don't know of anybody coming, and we're running out of time. So as of right now, I would say
tell my clients that that's exactly right.
Yeah,
but I think Marsha wins in any three-way race. She's got a solid 40%.
What do you think that Bill Lee's legacy? What do you make of Bill Lee's legacy? What he's been able to accomplish? He got hit with COVID, obviously, no fault of his own there. But I mean,
well, he owns the vouchers. There's no question about that. So that you got half of them right there upset, especially the Democrats. I think the nuclear stuff's a very positive legacy for him. I was so active in Diane, trying to help Diane, and you and other people helping Randy Boyd. I always tell that story. Two people were samurais, and the guy on the end of the deck won for the fishing pole. He was the non-violent.
Incredible.
Spent a third of the money. And I'm talking to the managers every day, and they just said he was Teflon. He came across and projected well. And
he came across
kind of like Bill Haslam did in 2010 against Zach Wamp. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
I can remember doing an Anderson County poll about 3 weeks out, and Haslam was ahead by 1 point over Wamp in Anderson County. And I called up over Haslam. I called a friend of mine over there, and I said, "You need this polling."
Yeah.
And I sent it to him because I like Haslam a lot. I think Haslam's the best governor we've ever had. That's my personal opinion.
I agree. I think Haslam was an excellent governor.
He was able to blend conservatism with effective stuff, and you get Haggerty out of that. You get the present ECD development.
Well, I think look, our congressional delegation doing a fantastic job. Our U.S. senators doing a great job. We got a lot to, again, I want to be positive. There's a lot of positive things going on in the Tennessee Republican Party.
And I would say this. One thing I like about Marsha Blackburn, and I've contributed and I like a lot about her. My sister is very close friends with John Rose and his sister. But I just think she's fearless, outspoken, very committed to conservative values. You know where she is. You just know where she is.
Yes.
The biggest question for all those people is when you start tracking the money, everybody's exposed. I've told you, you can be sailing down a road and one snapshot from something that happened in 2019 could change the whole game. It'll change the whole game.
Absolutely. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, I think it'll be up and going in no time. I mean, these races, but it'll be interesting to see what happens to Blackburn's Tennessee if she does win. You got Jacobs, some other people interested.
Jacobs and Fleischman Congressman Fleischman are the two leaders. I think Fleischman would be the best pick. I think he would do a great job. He's obviously the most knowledgeable guy around for our state. But everybody likes Jacobs.
Yeah, I mean,
and Trump likes him. So I think he's out stumping. He's out making speeches for her and doing stuff. So I think that he would be the front runner at this time. Chuck would be close.
This legislative session? I guess the only thing left really is the bill with the undocumented children, the school access. I saw that passed another committee.
Can we get her on the air? Can you get a picture of her?
Yeah. I don't know if you can see this.
Chad's dog.
Yeah.
Come here, baby. Come here.
Yeah. We've got a guest in studio here.
Come up here. Yeah. Come here. Put your foot up.
Oh, here we go.
Come here. Put your head up. Put your head up. There you go, baby. Look at it. Look at it.
But I did see that pass another committee. Do you think that's actually going to get through where they're potentially going to not give access to undocumented children to
conservatives like that bill a lot, and it's a mix. It's a mixed belly. It's a mixed bowl.
Do you think Bill Lee will sign that? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't see the budget pass and see what they do with some of the budget money. I will say this. Let's give Governor Lee credit. He put $3.1 million in the budget to fund in full the Scarborough project.
Great. The Scarborough 85 project.
Yeah.
Hey, big shout out to Aaron Wells on that.
Yeah, he did a lot. A lot of commissioners
job.
did a lot of jobs.
But Aaron is still working on that. I just think he won't take the credit for it.
Well, it's funny because Chuck Fleischman had a major role. Obviously, he committed to it early.
Absolutely.
Me and him and alumni Charlie Ergen and I were involved. And the bottom line is that we thought it was a great idea. Those were our classmates. I mean, people a little bit older.
Who could think of a more worthy cause than that on a local level?
But I mean,
you're talking about true heroes.
There were alumni all over helping, but the vision is you get off Interstate 75.
Yeah.
Okay, coming down, you're going over to 40. You get off Interstate 75, you go to Clinton, you visit Clinton, you come through to Oak Ridge, you visit that museum, and you go straight out and get on 40. I mean, it's a real tourism opportunity. If it's marketed well, it's a real tourism
opportunity. They're still working on it. They still need money. It's Scarborough 85 Monument Project. If you Google it, you can donate. It's a 501c3.
They do still need money, but you understand it's fully funded, right?
Well, they still need money. I mean, I didn't know that it got fully funded.
That's what they say, $3.1 million.
Well, I know that they can still use it, so check it out. Check it out.
I
mean, it's a worthy cause. It really is. So
that's okay. So goes fast, and our time's only 2 minutes left. Anything else?
Well,
local candidates. You got any local candidates?
Well, again, we got 2026 on the horizon. This is going to be your busy time of year, as it always is. It'll be interesting to see what happens with some of the commission races. There is sort of a changing of the guard with some of the older candidates, maybe not seeking re-election. We'll see what happens. I mean, it should be a crowded slate. You'll have the sheriff and the mayor on the ballot, all the fee officers.
I don't see any opponents for any of them.
I just mean potentially it could be a big turnout.
The sheriff always gets an opponent. The mayor always gets an opponent, but they're too big. They're the two big people in there. I don't see much else.
Yeah.
I work with most of them, and they've all done a pretty good job.
Oh, yeah.
Helped John Alley last year. John's had just go through redistricting. He's done a good job.
Again, I think that if you look around, if you're a young conservative wanting to get involved in Republican politics, there's a lot of really good leaders.
You want a good race?
Uh-huh.
You got my man over here in Knoxville, who's on the far left, and you got Betsy Henderson, school board chief, who's on the far right, and they're climbing together. Mm-hmm. And Commissioner Kim Frazier trying to make up her mind whether she wants to get in or not by September 1st. That's interesting.
Knox County's going to have several competitive races, it sounds like. So we'll see.
I'm a big fan of Brent Gibson. He's a sheriff candidate. I like him. Played football with Manning and Helton and everything.
That's going to be an interesting one, I guess.
Great guy. Done a great job. SWAT leader. Commander. I mean, this guy's really good. And you can watch us on Knoxville TV, too, on cable. Just can't hear him. But we're going to get it done. Anything else you want to say? You going to run for anything?
No.
Should I put you on my customer level? You going to be all right? You don't want to do it?
I'm good. we did one together 20 years ago, and
How long ago was it?
That was 2005. That was
I thought it was 2000.
No, that's been enough for me. But I would like to say in closing, if anyone
did you get more votes than Tyler?
No, of course not. I would like to say I hope no one got their feelings hurt, as my dear friend Saber Beauchamp would say, and got to get that in. But thank you for having me.
That's great. Thank you, folks.